Welcome back to Alpha Recap, your quick post-market wrap. I'm glad you joined us. The markets were closed for the day, and we've got governance sparks, heavy volume leadership, and a big infrastructure headline to unpack. As always, if you have questions, you can reach us at stockalpha.ai.
Thanks, great to be here. Lots to dig into from today.
All right, big picture first. Today's top moves were a fairness filing that flagged potential insider benefits in a trio of deals. NVIDIA finished the day up and trading heavy, and TAG unveiled plans for a 300 million liter fuel hub at Walvis Bay. That set the tone. Governance risk, concentrated volume, and infrastructure headlines. So, what really stands out here is...
Yeah, absolutely. Each of those stories touches a different market dynamic: legal risk, market leadership, and real economy projects. They're different drivers, but together they shaped a pretty active session.
Let's start with the governance filing. A notice popped up questioning whether the proposed transactions protected ordinary shareholders in 3 companies. Walk me through why that mattered today.
Sure. The filing alleged the deals could give outsized benefits to insiders and include terms that would limit competing bids. That's important because structural deal provisions like that can reduce shareholder leverage and make contested offers less likely. Analysts note that fairness challenges often prompt more disclosure, fairness opinions, or even competing bids, all of which can cause sharp price moves.
So nothing was final, but the filing itself was a volatility catalyst.
Exactly. Even without dollar amounts or a timetable, the filing signals potential legal and activist attention. It even included a free contact for shareholders, which is a tell that claim activity could follow. So traders were watching for supplemental filings, formal proxy materials, or a fairness opinion to land. And honestly, I was a bit surprised by how quick that kind of filing can move a microcap or a deal stock. It can turn a quiet process into a headline event very fast.
Right. Quick reactions. Look for amended deal terms, competing bidders, or litigation. Short and sweet.
Short and sweet, yep.
Okay, mic drop data moment. NVIDIA led the market again today. It finished up about 2% to roughly $179 on heavy turnover, around 160 million shares. Tell us why that matters beyond the price tick.
NVIDIA's outperformance keeps pulling flows into semiconductors and AI-related names. When a single leader moves on heavy volume, it tends to concentrate returns, so a handful of names outperform while the rest lag. Analysts also pointed to elevated option-implied volatility after a high-volume day. That keeps hedges and block trades interesting for institutional players.
So momentum in a market leader drives sector flows, and that can create dispersion. Got it. Quick one. The inverse small cap ETF fell today too, right?
Yes, the inverse small cap ETF dropped about 3.5% to roughly $7 on about 206 million shares. A decline in a short or inverse ETF often registers as a risk-on cue for small-cap exposure. Paired with NVIDIA's strength, traders read that as a rotation back into growth and market leaders.
There was also heavy retail-driven activity in some low-price names. 2 caught headlines. One jumped and one plunged.
Right. One small name jumped about 4% to around $2 on roughly 150 million shares. Another plunged about 5% to around 19 cents on roughly 140 million shares. Those moves highlight how retail volume and momentum trading still create wide intraday ranges and sometimes sudden liquidity gaps.
Short reactions, yeah, that tracks.
Right.
Let's pivot to energy and infrastructure, and this was a big one. TAG announced plans for a 300 million liter fuel storage hub at Walvis Bay. That's a sizable project. What did people take from that?
The headline was definitely a strategic move. 300 million liters meaningfully increases regional storage capacity. For a region like Southern Africa, improved storage at a strategic port can change logistics, reduce bottlenecks, and shift how fuel is supplied and distributed across neighboring markets. But the release didn't include financing or timelines, so the market will want permits, partner agreements, and firm construction milestones before pricing it like a live project.
So it's strategic news, but not yet investable until there's financing and contracting.
Exactly. Data suggests markets only start to price in infrastructure projects after concrete milestones show up. Still, announcements like this reflect a broader trend. Energy security projects and storage expansion are back on the radar as firms and nations hedge supply concentration risks.
Quick reaction, big move.
Big move.
Okay, a few other shorter notes from the day. John Deere and Tartar announced a U.S. manufacturing partnership to produce a new line of domestic rotary cutters. What's the takeaway there?
It fits into the ongoing onshoring and supply chain resilience story. No production or revenue guidance came with the announcement, so it's more of a signal than a financial event. Analysts say onshoring can reduce lead times and protect margins over time, but benefits need production ramp details to really influence earnings expectations.
Insurance got a couple of touch points today, too. What did you see there?
2 items. Search interest in farmers' insurance spiked to about 20,000 searches, up about 200%. That's a directional indicator. Higher search traffic can precede media attention or customer activity. And Duck Creek's loss control solution was named a finalist in an industry award, which is a reputational win that could accelerate sales cycles for its risk management tools. But as always, awards and search trends are leading indicators. Follow-through matters.
Got it. Consumer tech. Hisense pushed energy efficiency messaging. Sounded more strategic than financial.
Right. Positioning on sustainability can change competitive dynamics. But without unit or margin data, it's mostly strategic framing. The market will watch whether incumbents respond with competing product moves or R&D shifts.
We included a rapid-fire update list in the note. Quick bullets to recap for listeners?
Sure, NVIDIA finished up about 2% on elevated volume. Watch option-implied volatility and block trades. The inverse small-cap ETF fell about 3.5% on heavy turnover, a short-term risk-on cue. A couple of microcaps showed massive retail liquidity swings, one up about 4%, another down about 5%. TAG announced the 300 million-liter Walvis Bay hub. Permits and financing are the next catalysts. Deere and Tartar announced domestic production plans, timelines pending. Duck Creek got industry recognition. Hisense emphasized energy efficiency. And Farmers Insurance had that spike in search interest, about 20,000 searches, up roughly 200%.
Nice summary. Okay, final segment. What should listeners be watching when markets reopen?
First, any supplemental filings or press releases tied to that fairness notice. Look for fairness opinions, amended terms, or potential competing bids. Second, follow NVIDIA's trading. Sustained volume and momentum, or a reversal, will say a lot about sector flows. Third, watch for permitting, partner, and financing updates on the Walvis Bay hub. That'll tell you if the project moves from plan to execution. And lastly, keep an eye on volume and price action in microcaps and inverse ETFs. Continued retail-driven flows would keep intraday volatility elevated.
Quick reactions. Hold on. Say that again?
Watch filings on the deal, watch NVIDIA volume, watch TAG milestones, and watch retail-driven flows in microcaps and inverse ETFs.
Perfect. Let's close with 3 clear takeaways.
1. Governance filings can be as market-moving as earnings when they raise fairness or insider benefit questions. Expect volatility and legal follow-through. 2. Market leadership remained concentrated. NVIDIA's heavy volume gain kept sector flows focused on semiconductors and AI-related names. 3. Strategic infrastructure headlines, like the 300 million-liter Walvis Bay hub, matter for regional supply chains, but require permits and financing before they become investable catalysts.
Solid. Reminder, this is informational only. Analysts note risks and signals, but nothing here is personalized investment advice.
Right. Always check with your advisors before making decisions.
All right. Thanks for walking through that. If you want a deeper dive on any of these topics, or you have follow-up questions, head to stockalpha.ai and use our Q&A feature. We'll answer live. For more market analysis and insights, visit stockalpha.ai. Thanks for listening to Alpha Recap. We'll be back after the next close.